But we have a mission and a mandate to be on the right side of history. My philosophy is very simple. When you see something that is not right, not fair, not just, say something, do something, get in trouble, good trouble, necessary trouble.
Who will be doing an open to invitation as well with two other of our community clergy as well. So I want to go ahead and share a few words for you. So what Indivisible TAG /FCC.Chattanooga. Again, that is Facebook.com/FCC Chattanooga. So I'm going to have our three clergy come up, and we're going to do an open invitation to invite you into the messages and the words today of our organizers in our community.
Good evening. It is good to be all here. I'm Reverend Daniel Livers. I'm the senior minister here at First Christian Church, right here in downtown Chattanooga, Tennessee. When Victoria asked if we could host this event here in the church, in the sanctuary, I immediately remembered the legacy of the civil rights movement and how so much of that work started in church spaces for folks to gather and to organize. And so I'm grateful that we get to use our space in this way. The shirt I'm wearing tonight lists names of several historical disciples women who used their lives to lift others up and make love known. And so I'm remembering tonight that so much of the work that we do is built on the foundation of those that have come before us. And so tonight we will celebrate John Lewis, who marched and who legislated, who prayed, who led us a little further towards that hope for beloved community. And that is what tonight is about. It is about beloved community. It is about hope and possibility. It's about living into that legacy of love and justice that we know through John Lewis's life. And so we're invited tonight to remember, and then because we remembered, we're invited to act, and to act in love.
Thanks. Good evening, friends. I am Reverend Laura Becker, and I serve as the pastor of Northminster Presbyterian Church here in Chattanooga. I am honored to be here in this space tonight. We are bringing ourselves as we are with lots of different things, with our fears, with our disappointments, with our anxieties, with our hopes, with our persistence, with our determination to work for a different future. I was really grateful a number of years ago in 2015 to be at a conference that was on the unfinished legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King, and John Lewis was one of the speakers at that event, and to find ourselves now trying to work on the unfinished legacy of John Lewis as well. And he spoke at that event about the importance of getting into good trouble. That was the first time I had heard him talk about that, and it is such an important way for us to think about the work that we are called to do now. And he said, if we're going to build the beloved community, we have to do it together, and we cannot be afraid. And so we are here together because we may have fears, but we are not afraid. And we know that we are in the midst of one another, and that we are called to do this work with passion and with justice and with love. And I wanted to share, there's a quote by William Sloane Coffin, who was a pastor that I've always loved, that just, it was timely when he said it. It is still all too timely now, that the world is too dangerous for anything but truth and too small for anything but love. So friends, it is a scary time, but we do this together, and we are not afraid. So let us do so with love.
Thank you. I'm Father Will Levenway. I'm from Christ Church Episcopal down the street. One of the reasons why I wanted to be here, especially I think because we're honoring and thinking about John Lewis, is that one of the ways in which I think of him is as a prophet and one called to the prophetic task. And the good news and the bad news for all of you here is that you are too. You are called to prophetic work. Prophets are not people who know everything. Prophets are people whose hearts are open enough that they're willing to suffer and to see a way forward. So I hope you sign up for a million things. I hope you get involved in everything that there is to do. But the thing I would hope most for you is that you respond to that prophetic task by refusing to harden your heart, by keeping an open heart, by keeping yourself open to others, open to suffering, and open to the future. Because I think when you do that, when we do that, however it is we keep those hearts open, however it does that we envision that future, then we start to get into just the sort of trouble we need to be into in our churches, in our cities, in our states, and in our country. So, I'm honored to be here, hopefully to call you to the prophet's work, to be a prophetic people, and to refuse to harden your hearts. It's as close as I'm going to get to a prayer. Now, I have not scanned the QR code, so I don't know what we do next.
Do you still need to scan the QR code?
I probably should, yes ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you. As always, these words offer comfort, especially in these difficult times. But know there is hope. Know there's still joy. Remember, joy is an act of resistance as well. So stand in those words. Just take it in before we move into the next speaker. So we'll have Mo from Samias, Oregon TN. I pray I have spoken that correctly. Who's going to go ahead and be our first speaker of tonight. Please give him a round of applause. All right, in your program has Samias TNC's information, so please make sure you go to those QR codes, that Venmo, and let Indivisible TAG know how you can help. We will connect you back to Samias, Tennessee. If you raised your hand tonight and you raised your hand, let us connect you to him. Let's connect you to all of our community partners. That's why we're here tonight. All right, let those words sit for a moment. All right. Remember, we are resisting, but we also are welcoming change as well. And change will come. It has come. You're here tonight. That proves that. And we will overcome. Each and every day. When you leave here today, later tonight, you're going to leave with these words and you're going to start asking more questions. And we'll be here to help you out with that next step forward. So I'm going to go ahead and invite our next speaker, Taylor Lyons with Moms for Social Justice. Give her a round of applause.
No one wants to be me right now, following my friend Mo. Least of all me. Good evening, everyone. My name is Taylor Lyons. I'm one of the co-founders, and I am the Community Outreach Director for the Chattanooga Moms for Social Justice. I certainly appreciate the opportunity to share a little bit about who we are and what we do, but I am going to be honest and admit that I'm feeling some serious trepidation amongst our speakers and all of these organizations that we admire, and certainly following Mo and Samias, who we've had the privilege of working with and to learn from these last several years. Yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult to listen and sit with those words and hear the lived experiences of our undocumented and immigrant communities and not feel with every cell in my body that I can and I should be doing more, and I'm sure you're feeling the exact same way. In the months since the election, I have felt that I could have and should have done more leading up to that day, and I felt that way every day since, and I would venture to say that's why we're all here tonight. We refuse to curl up in despair. We're here for community, and we're here to listen and learn from these other organizations about the work that they're doing and how we can help. And so I'd love to share with you about some of the things that we're working on as an organization, but I also want to be transparent with you. We are an organization that is currently operating with just 2 moms in our leadership, moms of small children, I'm one of whom. I had a baby, I lost a parent, and I was diagnosed with a chronic health condition which has completely changed my life in the last 2 years. Our other leadership member, she also has young children. She is caring for an ailing parent, and she is preparing for a major medical procedure tomorrow morning. I'm sharing that with you to express that our bandwidth is hanging on by a thread right now. And I'm sure that other organizations here can relate with that. I'm sure you can as well. And I think that is what moves me and what inspires me about this community, that we can all come here carrying really, I'm not gonna curse in the Lord's house, really heavy, heavy things and still say, how can I help? I have an hour or two, or I have 10 or 20 bucks. How can I be of service? I'm feeling a little emotional, guys. I'm sorry. I'm going to take a moment. I want you to know that that time, that hour or two that you have, that $10 or $20 you have, it matters. It's invaluable. Mutual aid and being here for one another through community is how we're going to get through this. As an organization, we have decided that our best efforts are put towards local efforts and supporting local organizations that you'll hear from tonight and that you've already heard from. This summer, we launched our MSJ CARES initiative. We are moms, we like a good acronym. CARES stands for Community, Activism, Resistance, and Engagement in Service. So what does that look like on the ground? Well, this summer we co-hosted a Pride-themed story hour with drag queen readers and featuring several of our favorite queer books. We know that content is deeply needed not only for our queer families, but also heteronormative families. It's hard to have empathy for a community if you don't see them represented positively. We were volunteering at the food bank last week. We have a Narcan packing event at the end of the month, partnered with Seed Theater, which we need volunteers for. And let's see, we're taking small donations to buy books for a 5th grade ELA classroom library at Woodmore Elementary. MSJ has installed more than 20 classroom libraries throughout Hamilton County, and while we don't plan on stopping anytime soon, we have to admit we have to be a little more quiet about it these days. Who would have imagined that what we thought was going to be our most nonpartisan work would end up being our more controversial work? We just have a simple belief that all kids deserve to see themselves positively represented. And we remain committed to curating and donating diverse and inclusive libraries, and we will never apologize for putting books in the hands of kids. You have to wonder why the people... You have to wonder why the people who claim they're committed to liberty are so desperate to keep our kids from reading books. But that's the beauty of a library, isn't it? It's not a monolith of thought. The freedom to go to the library and choose a book that speaks to you and represents you is one of our most sacred individualistic practices. That is a deeply American freedom, not afforded many places in the world, and it's a freedom that we denied to certain people in this country for a long, long time. What a frightening thought that we are barreling towards that reality again with these relentless attacks on our intellectual freedom. But not on our watch, not today, not in Chattanooga. If our good trouble means putting banned books in the hands of kids who want to read them, then we're up to the assignment, and we hope you are too. Thank you for your time. Thank you in solidarity with each and every one of you and these important organizations that we are proud to share space with tonight.
Come on, another round of applause for Taylor Lyons for Moms for Social Justice. Thank you so much. All right, we have Naquan Robinson, who's going to be speaking next. Just take your time. Yeah. Yeah. Do you want to wait, or I can get the crowd going. Yeah, I can get us going. Let's raise the roof. Democracy.
Okay, I can't figure out this stand, so I'm just gonna hold the mic. So thank you for that introduction. I am Naquan. I am with the Hamilton County Democratic Party. I am the chair of the party, and it is an honor to be with you all here this evening. And before I just get to the speech I kind of jotted out, you know, this call had such significant timing when I was asked to come and be a speaker at this event, because I was firsthand experiencing, you know, just discord amongst different groups in our communities, where we had some common goals, things we want to accomplish, and I couldn't understand where that conflict came from. So when this event came up and I was asked, I was just so excited to be able to be amongst other groups and organizations that I have the utmost respect for, and for us to come together. And so it's very interesting Victoria chose that chant, because really I just want to talk a little bit about unity. So we'll get into it. It is an absolute honor to stand here today on this sacred day, the anniversary of Congressman John Lewis's passing, as part of a powerful gathering of truth tellers, bridge builders, and defenders of justice. Events like this remind us that while the challenges we face are real, so is our collective power to meet them. And make no mistake, the challenges are real. I echo when it said that we are witnessing the most brazen rollback of civil and human rights in generations. From the criminalization of protests to laws that chip away at our freedom to vote, the pressure to remain silent or stand still is growing. But today, tonight, we reject silence. We choose action. Thank you. What makes this evening even more meaningful is the spirit of collaboration, which is what I was just talking about, that brings us all together. This is not just one organization or one voice, it's a coalition of people and power. Groups and people that have spoke before me, like I have the utmost respect for Mo. I will quickly pick up the phone and call him. I work with Taylor, and you know, our host, Indivisible TAG, so many more. We represent different paths, but we do walk a common road, and that road leads to justice, it leads to progress, it leads to community. We don't all have to look alike or worship alike to fight for what's right. We just need to show up together, united in purpose. Our strength is our solidarity, not our sameness. Congressman John Lewis taught us that he didn't just fight for civil rights, he lived them. He stared down violence and hatred with love and unwavering courage. It resonates loudly when he said, "Never ever be afraid to make some noise and get in good trouble, necessary trouble." That wasn't a slogan, it was a lifestyle, and it's one that we must carry forward. So what does that look like? Today, our good trouble looks like expanding access to the ballot. It looks like fighting for fully funded public schools, for reproduction freedom, for LGBTQ plus rights, for clean air and water, for racial equity, for economic opportunity, for democracy itself. It's power, people-powered change we believe in, and policies that are rooted in equity. Progress that doesn't leave people behind. And I just want to stop and say, you know, for those who don't know, well, you can see I'm a Black woman. I'm also a member of the LGBT plus community. And I can tell you, these are very scary times that we're living in. So I really echo the call to action, and I'm asking y'all to get involved, because I live this every single day. And I'm gonna tell you, sorry, I'm going off script for a second, and I'm like, you're getting emotional just thinking about it. You know, since this past, you know, whatever happened in November, we know, People are just, I don't know if I want to call it bold or stupid. Like, I can be out and they say just the most hurtful things. I've told this story before. I remember when I was in the grocery store with my daughter, right in Ottawa, right here in Chattanooga, and a man had asked me, like, hey, I didn't even know he was talking to me. He was like, hey, have you packed yet? And I'm like, what? He's like, have you packed yet? And I was looking around, and he was like, no, it's time for y'all to go. We're taking our country back. And that infuriated me. But that's the real life that someone that looks like me is living today. Okay, back to my speech. And here's the thing. We need everyone. We have caucuses, our organization, HDP, we have caucuses and committees that are doing this work every day. An example is our Women's Caucus, fighting for gender equity and lifting women's voices in leadership. Our Black Caucus and LGBT plus caucus, making space for communities that are too often spoken about, but not spoken with. Can I please say that one more time? Talk about us, claim you're fighting for us, but don't talk to us. That has got to change. Our community engagement team, building lasting relationships through issue advocacy and ensuring we are connected to the local happenings. And don't kill me, our chair of that committee is here today. Can you wave your hand? Where is he? He's in the building. Paul. Oh, there he is. Okay. So we have some members here from our executive committee. And so you have people that you can connect with to learn more about what we're doing. Our operative readiness program, preparing people like you to lead, to organize so that we can win. We are also proud to offer a college intern program. Is there anyone in here that is a college student or knows one here locally? Raise your hand. I know y'all, we got some people. I saw a few hands go up. This is where students get hands-on experience in grassroots organizing, learn civic engagement skills, and build the kind of professional networks that last a lifetime. If you're a student or you know one, send them our way. Let's invest in their leadership now. So what can you do? You show up. You plug in, you bring your skills, your energy, your time. Even just a couple of hours a month makes a difference. Whether you knock a door, make a call, register a voter, share a post, this movement grows because of people like you. We have a table set up out there. Actually, Josh and Paige are in the back there with our table. If you want to learn more about voter registration, suppression, education, and sign up for a committee or caucus, we would love to get you involved. And I do just want to, I'm going to go ahead and, and we have swag back there if you want to grab some free swag. I just want to end with this. Like most of you, I've been frustrated, I've been upset and angry. When the frustration and anger come, and you don't want to let it paralyze you. Do not let it paralyze you. Let it fuel your purpose and replace that frustration with action. Because in America, the power still lies with the people. And tonight, I challenge you to prove it. Thank you.
Yes, the power. You have, each and every one of you has power today, a power to make change. Someone told me today, maybe it's just one step, maybe one person whose life you can change. It doesn't have to be the world, just one person. It could be in your family, in your house, in your neighborhood. Then you can branch out to your community, and it, like a wave of energy, it will flow. Raise your hand if you are ready to take that stand, that next step. However small it is, just that commitment that you will do it. Raise those hands, say, yes, I can. Yes, I will. Yes, I can. Remember, change, that power is in you. Change is coming, and I see it in each and every one of you. Give yourselves a round of applause. All right. Our next speaker is Catherine Geeter, and she will be leading us into an uplifting space. So thank you so much.
Good evening. Come on. Good evening. Awesome, awesome. Well, first and foremost, thank you to Victoria and my wonderful friend Sophia for thinking about little old me to come and stand before each of you this evening. I don't take it lightly, and I certainly don't take it for granted. To the speakers that I get to share this platform with, many are friends, thank you. Thank you for the words that have already been spoken and the words to come. So, as Victoria says, I'm Kathleen Jeter. Many probably know of me and many don't, but the most important thing to remember is I am a friend and I am a neighbor. Today, we do gather on this 5th anniversary of the passing of a man whose life and legacy continues to inspire us, Congressman John Lewis. We come together not just to remember, but to reflect, to renew our commitment, and to reunite the spirit of good trouble, that courageous act of standing for justice, love, and truth, even when it's difficult. 2 Sundays ago, my pastor spoke on the powerful call to stay woke. Those 2 words have stayed with me, echoing deep within my spirit. As I pondered what to say to you tonight, I realized those words, they say it all. They remind us that in this moment, we must remain vigilant, attentive, and actively engaged in the work of justice and compassion. Let me share a story with you. Acts 20, verse 9, is about a young man who fell into a deep sleep while Paul was preaching. He sank from the 3rd floor and was carried away dead. A very tragic moment, would you agree? But Paul's response was urgent and it was focused. He went down, threw himself over him, and said, "Don't be alarmed. He's alive." That story reminds me of the importance of staying awake, alert, and present. My first point this evening, let us not be distracted. The work of humanity, of democracy, it's too vital for us to drift into sleep, into silos, or even complacency. Now more than ever, we need to be laser focused with intentionality, strategy, and empathy. We must see clearly the needs around us and act with purpose. Our collective future depends on it. The second point, there is no room for fear, discouragement, division, or hate. Let me repeat that again. There is no room for fear, discouragement, division, or hate. Only empathy. But get this, empathy wrapped in action. Tonight, I want you to imagine something powerful. Let's imagine for a moment that we are, or what we are witnessing is like the biblical young man falling from the 3rd floor, vulnerable, caught in a moment of despair. But instead of sinking into fear or division, what if our responses are those like David in the biblical story, who stepped forward with his sling and 5 smooth stones? Each stone within our sight, at our reach, represents a few vital virtues: love, hope, unity, empathy, and guess what? Courage. But among these, we know it only takes one. The one that can truly make a difference is the stone of empathy. But get this, it's not about what we feel on the inside, what makes you feel all warm and fuzzy, right? It's a force that, when it's wrapped in action, can truly shift the course of history. Empathy in its purest form is like that single stone, small but mighty. When wrapped in action, it's a force capable of breaking down walls of misunderstanding, hatred, and division. It's a stone that says, I see you. I understand you. I am here for you. Acting with empathy means listening deeply to those whose voices are unheard, standing in solidarity with those facing injustices, and offering kindness even in the face of hostility. It means choosing to serve rather than to judge, to connect rather than to condemn. When empathy is wrapped in action through volunteering, advocacy, or just simple acts of intentional kindness, we become powerful agents of change. Tonight, I challenge each of us, be like David, select your stone. Choose the right stone, the stone of empathy. Wrap it in action, and with that single powerful stone, move forward to make good trouble for love, for justice, and for the beloved community we all deserve. My third point, half in, half out. It's not enough. John Lewis's call to make good trouble speaks loudly in these times. We cannot afford to be half in and half out. To truly transform our communities, our city, this county, and even our nation, we must be all in, fully committed, fully present, and fully active. That's what good trouble looks like. Standing boldly, speaking truth, and acting with unwavering conviction. My final point, underestimating the risk. What we are witnessing today is not an accident, folks. Many of us underestimated the risk, the cost of complacency, silence, and even inaction. But moving forward, it's a new day. I urge all of us, stay woke. Recognize the dangers, the injustices, the threats to our democracy, and act with courage. Our future depends on it. This gathering is more than a moment of reflection. It is a call to action. It's an invitation to feel a sense of belonging, of urgency, knowing that we are part of a movement rooted in love, justice, and hope. It's about empowering each of us to act intentionally, to embody good trouble, and to create a ripple effect of positive change. In closing, I want to remind us all that this is a moral and spiritual moment. It's a time to remember what John Lewis believed, that love and courage can change the world. It's a time to embody the beloved community he envisioned, where justice, peace, and compassion reign. Let us be inspired by his example. Let us be vigilant, courageous, and compassionate. And above all, let us remember that good trouble, driven by love and that stone of empathy wrapped in action, it does live on. Thank you, and may we continue to walk in hope and in action. And if it's okay, I want to bring my grandson up here, King. Come on. King has been with me when I ran for county commission back in 2018. He was actually a baby. And one of the things, as much as this inspires me, folks, and I love that each and every one of you guys are here, we've got to bring our babies. They've got to see what we're doing, the words that we're saying. He's just 8 years old, but he already gets it. So thank you.
Yes, hope in action. Listen to that. Hope, love, joy, all in action. Remember these words today. Remember that you have power. Fear is not real. I have to tell you a quick story. I was so nervous with getting this event planned, making sure that everything was done right. I mean, we're probably overthinking a little things. But I see each and every one of you, and you give me hope. You inspire me. Think of that. You inspire me. That child in the back, you inspire me. Know that. Say it. I am inspired. I am empowered. I am the vehicle for change. Say that again. Vehicle for change. I am a vehicle for change. Thank you so much. Good. So we're in trouble. So just know, just like we said before, by us making good trouble, that resistance, that energy, what we put out to the world is what's going to help facilitate that next step. We understand that there are going to be different ways for you to participate. Keep in contact with us through Indivisible TAG, and we'll make sure to keep you looped in. Also, make sure you scan that QR code. Get that digital program. It has all the information you need to keep in contact with the organizations, how to find us. Also, we'll be reaching out to you with a post follow-up email, so that way we can answer any questions you have that we didn't get a chance to answer during the program. So I'm going to go ahead and invite up Lily Sanchez from La Paz. Give her a round of applause.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. It's truly a gift to be with you, to be surrounded by people who believe in justice, dignity, and the power of community. La Paz Chattanooga began over 20 years as our city's first nonprofit focused on bringing justice and support to Latina residents. It has become an anchor for Latino families across Hamilton County and our local region, a trusted place for those seeking stability in the face of uncertainty, connection in times of isolation, and empowerment when the system tries to keep them powerless. As I approach my 8th year with this organization, and through arguably the most difficult of those years, I find myself reflecting not only on the work that we do, but on what our efforts represent. For so many in our region, La Paz is a symbol, La Paz is a symbol of what's possible when we lead with compassion. And every conversation, every act of support, is part of something bigger. Our work is rooted in listening closely and responding in ways that honor the lived experiences and wisdom of the people we serve, and we commit to building a city where everyone belongs. But my connection to this work didn't begin with La Paz, it began with my family. As a child of Dominican immigrants, I grew up watching my parents face many of the same challenges we see in the families who walk through our doors every day. They were educated, but education alone couldn't protect them from language barriers, discrimination, or the overwhelming task of trying to integrate into a community that wasn't built with them in mind. And with the modest resources and privilege my parents had, they built community. I remember wishing a place like La Paz had existed when I was growing up, an organization that not only offered support to my parents and our community, but affirmed our presence, lifted up our culture, and created space for us to thrive. Even without that infrastructure, I watched my parents do what they could with what little they had. They connected with other Latinas, they shared knowledge, they showed up for neighbors. They navigated complex systems, not just for themselves, but for others, because that's what community meant to them. And it wasn't until much later that I realized how much they gave up in order to uphold those values. That kind of sacrifice, that deep-rooted collective care, is what inspires the work we do at La Paz. And I know I'm not alone. Many of our staff, most of our staff, our board members and our volunteers have similar stories. They too have felt and seen the struggle, but they too carry hope, and they too believe in a better future, not just for Latinas, but for Chattanooga as a whole. Because when immigrant families succeed, we all benefit. When diversity is embraced, we all grow richer in spirit and in possibility. What we don't always celebrate enough is this. La Paz isn't just about providing services, it's about shaping a culture of belonging, a culture of welcoming, a culture of shared responsibility. What we're building isn't just about one generation, it's about honoring those who came before us and clearing path for those who will come after. Of course, we are living in a moment that challenges this vision. Immigrant families are being separated. People's lives are being uprooted and their civil rights grossly violated. Their humanity is being overlooked, and yet we remain steadfast. In the face of fear, we offer stability. In the face of division, we offer community. In the face of silence, we speak up. At La Paz, our programs are rooted in dignity, individualized case management, education and workforce skills, entrepreneurship and youth development, civil rights and financial empowerment. But more than any one service, our work is about ensuring that no one feels invisible in this city. We believe in systems that create opportunity, not barriers. We believe in a Chattanooga where immigrant voices are heard in policy, in business, in culture, and everyday life. And to our allies here tonight, thank you for showing up. But let me make a few simple requests. Continue or start to support immigrant-owned businesses. Don't let language or discomfort stop you from building relationships in our grocery stores, restaurants, or workplaces. Immigrant businesses are the backbones of our community. Lead with love. Don't only counter hateful speech. Uplift stories of joy, talent, resilience. Remind people that immigrants are not just contributors to the economy, they are whole, complex people with dreams and dignity. Thank you. Build real trust. Show up when it matters, and let your actions speak louder than your words. As Congressman, when we see something that is not right, not fair, not just, to get in the way, to speak out, to cause good trouble. That's what we do every day at La Paz, in small, impactful ways that do not put our community in harm's way. And that's what I ask you to join us in doing, not just tonight, but tomorrow and the day after. Let's keep building this city, not for just some of us, but for all of us. Muchas gracias.
We are here together, hearing the stories of our speakers. It's moving, and you need to feel that when you talk to people. Listen to their story and just sit in that story. Let the tears come. It is okay. We're all here for the same thing. We are here because we're human. We're here because we want to make a change. We want to help. Honest to God, we want to help. And we need to know how we can help. Ask those questions. Look to your leadership. Look to these organizations and ask how I can help. And it's okay. If not, you may not be able to help with everything. But just know, say, hey, I'm just willing to do one thing, and this is what I can do. Here's my skill. How can I help? Just one step in the right direction is what we're asking. Just let us know. We'll help you. We'll guide you to the right place. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing your stories. They're so important that we hear them and acknowledge them. So the next speaker is Emma Veneron with Project Maelstrom. Yes!
I hate public speaking. Hello, my name is Emma Veneron, and I am a wife, an aunt, a teacher, community volunteer, and activist. I look like a white, cis, straight female. However, I'm actually part of the LGBTQ, I can't say the words. Y'all help. The queer community, yes. My husband and I are polyamorous, and we're not actively poly, meaning that it's just the two of us right now. But when you see me in public, it's me and my husband. I also am ADHD, I have autism, I have dyslexia and dysgraphia and dyscalculia, and it is not surprising that I am a special education pre-K teacher. I am also an activist for them. I am a member of the New Suffragettes, and I didn't put it in part of my speech because I didn't realize that I was going to talk about that. But I do have a thing. Our mission of the New Suffragettes is to galvanize public support for policies that ensure privacy, health care, and reproductive autonomy. We defend our right to own and control our own bodies. We promote human rights for all by dismantling systemic barriers to equality. We uphold the separation of church and state to protect democracy. Thank you. And I have a quote by Rosa Parks: as long as people use tactics to oppress or restrict other people from being free, there is work to be done. I always said when I was younger that if I was alive during the civil rights movement or the ACT UP movement in the 80s for AIDS, and back when the suffragists were trying to get the right to vote, which is, where the New Suffragettes kind of came from, then I would be one of them. And now I'm here. I posted on Facebook a lot of times the poem, First They Came. First they came for the communists, and I did not speak out because I was not a communist. Then they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trades unionists, and I did not speak out because I was a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak out for me. And what I put on Facebook is that we are rising up because we read the poem. Usually there's an F word, but I cut it out. And that's what we did. We know the poem. We know that everyone has to stand up, because if you don't stand up for somebody else, then somebody else can't stand up for you. I'm also a member of the Hamilton County Democratic Party, True Blue, Democracy in Action, and of course, Indivisible of Chattanooga. I'm probably in a lot more organizations, but I was writing this at 10 p.m. And I've come here to tell you another way that you can cause good trouble. It is called Project Mailstorm. It's a peaceful protest, a postal uprising. We use peaceful mass mailings to hold officials accountable. Not noise, not outrage. I do that as well. But action. Thousands of real letters flooding their offices all at once. There is power in paper, and it's been used before. Civil rights organizers flooded Congress with mail. ACT UP used mail to pressure the FDA, and 2020 elections proved the United States Postal Service is sacred. This isn't new. It's just time to do it again, but bigger. The goal is chaos. As this administration creates chaos for the people are going to create chaos right back. If their goal is to wreak havoc for us, then we're going to do the same in return for them. The plan is snail mail. Emails get deleted, voicemails get ignored, tweets get buried. But physical mail, it stacks, it lingers, it clogs the system. Every letter has to be scanned, sorted, and logged. The system isn't ready for us. The White House Daily Mail is 5,000. Add 10 more, disruption. Add 100,000, pressure. Add 1 million a day is chaos in envelopes. It's a storm they're not prepared for. What to write? There's no perfect words required. You're failing us. Enforce the 14th Amendment. We're watching. Do your job. My personal favorite, uphold the Constitution. Literally, I've written that so many times. Where am I? It's not about the message, it's about the mass. So if you can't write a full letter, mail junk. Literally, add a sticky note. You're doing garbage work, so here's some garbage. This is a protest with postage. Want to be extra spicy? Make it impossible to ignore. Use wax seals, odd size or colorful envelopes, bold handwriting, do not discard, written in red. Annoy them with beauty and creativity, but will it work? 5,000 a day, normal. 25,000 a day, disruptive. 100,000 a day, the system is strained. 1 million a day, full breakdown. It's not just a protest, it's tactical delay. One that drains resources and takes up physical space they cannot ignore. Return address tips. Do not have to include a return address. You can leave it blank. You can just put your city. Avoid clever return addresses. Some mailrooms may screen for language that signals protest. Keep it clean so it gets through. Remember to protect and support postal workers. They'll carry the weight of this. Let's honor them. Drop off water or snacks. Leave a thank you note. Thank you for delivering democracy. Who we're mailing. This is important. I have it listed on the New Suffragettes table. The White House, I have the address. The Supreme Court, I have the address. Government efficiency, which is really, that's just stupid. Department of Homeland Security, I have the address for that. Sustained pressures to strategic impact. We're not yelling and we're not disappearing. We're mailing every week, every generation. We don't stop until they stop destroying democracy. Something that I like about this is that it is something that anyone can do. Have a child that likes to draw? Put it in an envelope. Do you know how many envelopes the White House is getting from my pre-K class? A lot. Have a hard time with spelling or grammar? Doesn't matter. Put whatever it is in the envelope. You can put something with nothing on it, a napkin, a piece of junk mail, an old receipt. Cut off the last 4 digits of your credit card, put it in an envelope. So I have the addresses that you can take a photo of. I have QR codes for the websites. Thank you, Heather. She did that for me literally yesterday. And I have a New Suffragettes table. So Project Maelstrom stuff is on the Suffragettes table. Also stuff about New Suffragettes. Also, I have a kindness project that I created. The kindness project is people writing positive messages or drawings on cards for trans veterans that were fired from the military for being trans. My boss brought that to my attention when I was driving home from a protest, and I was like, we need to do something about that. We need to thank them. We need to let them know they are not alone, that we support them, and that our administration sucks. So if you would like to put a positive message in a card, I have cards and pens available at the New Suffragettes table as well. There is also a QR code for the New Suffragettes that you can scan and go to our website. We're also on Facebook. I think that's it. Thank you for everything you do and everything you will be doing in the future.
Great. Give her a round of applause. Show her some love. All right, let's go. While we're getting Audrey Ramsey with Chattanooga Aquatics Project set up, go ahead and stand up for me. Stand up, raise your arms. Raise your arms, stretch. Remember, we're in it for the good long haul. Stretch. Say, yes, I can. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Turn to your neighbor and say, yes, I can. Yes, we can. I believe in you. Say it, I believe in you. And we are doing good trouble today. Good job, good job. Sometimes it's okay to stretch, let things out. You know, I love these pews, but it's okay. I want you to just take a moment in between things. So here she is, the lady of the hour, Audrey Ramsey. Give her a round of applause.
Thank you, darling. I love you so much. Yes. Well, I want to say good evening and thank you, because this has been a long day for most of us, right? And thank you for being here. And thank all of you for showing up this evening to pay tribute to the late U.S. Congressman John Lewis on his 5th anniversary of his death. To him and so many of his kind who boldly stood up during the civil rights movement of the 60s and courageously fought to make his society a better place for all, we owe him a great debt of appreciation. We all stand on his shoulders. Now, who was U.S. Representative John Lewis? For those of you who may not know, and let me say it a little louder in the back. He was more than a politician. He was a man of dignity, respectfulness, unity, and peace. His is a legacy of courage, compassion, and change. When I reflect back on my ancestors whose shoulders I now stand on today, I do get a little teary-eyed and I cry, but not today. Not today, because it would seem that the hate is the rule of the day and that evil forces that exist are perpetrated upon people of color. And well, poor whites too. Let's just be real. Let's count this in the whole total number of the disparities and the hatred that's being perpetrated through policies against all people and their human rights. Because if we are real, given today's economics, we are all broke. So in thinking of my ancestors, I feel emotional seeing the hatred and the injustice against people of color persist today. These evil forces are trying to take us back to those dark days of my father's generation and his father's generation. But when I reflect on the past, the tears and the pain of hurt break through my core like an unmerciful flame. And I said it before, I am not going back. I am breath against this fire, and I will not turn away. I know I stand on the shoulders of my ancestors who gave their blood so that I, as a black female, may have the rights I have today and the right to pursue the journey of happiness. The truth is difficult to face, but I stand strong knowing I am not alone. In the vast narrative of American history, few figures stand out as enduring testaments to the power of change, conviction, and compassion, as did the late Congressman John Lewis. Born as a sharecropper, or born to sharecroppers in rural Alabama, raised in an era marked by segregation and violence, John Lewis's life was a testament to the indomitable spirit of an individual who dares to believe that love can conquer hate, and that one voice, especially when raised in righteous protest, can move an entire nation to justice. He was one, thank you. He was one of a few black men who dared to plant the seed of hope. John was born on February 21st, 1940, outside Troy, Alabama, the youngest son in a family of 10 children. John grew up in a world sharply divided by the color line. His parents, Eddie and Willie Mae, worked the land, and from them, he learned the values that would shape his life: perseverance, faith, and the necessity of standing up to what is right. As a child, John was fascinated by preachers often preaching to the chickens in the backyard. But the world around him was far from idyllic. The shackles of Jim Crow blighted every aspect of daily life. African Americans were denied basic rights, and violence was a constant threat. Yet John's parents urged him to stay out of trouble, advising him not to make waves. However, the contradictions of his world, the indignity his parents instilled, or the dignity his parents instilled, and the injustice he witnessed sparked questions that he could not ignore. This was his awakening and the call to action. Young John found inspiration in the fiery sermons of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., whose voice crackled through the radio one day in 1955. Dr. King's message on the Montgomery bus boycott ignited a passion in John. So John wrote Dr. King a letter seeking guidance, and to his astonishment received a bus ticket to Montgomery. This meeting proved to be a turning point. John Lewis, the boy who once preached to chickens, now found himself in the company of visionaries. With courage swelling in his heart, he resolved to become a catalyst for change. Lewis's journey continued at Fisk University in Nashville, Tennessee, where he immersed himself in the burgeoning civil rights movement. Under the tutelage of leaders like James Lawson, he mastered the strategies of non-violent protest. In 1960, Lewis became one of the original 13 Freedom Riders, risking his life to challenge segregation on the interstate buses. The battles were fierce. Lewis endured battles and beatings, arrests, and threats, his body bearing the scars of hatred, yet he never wavered. John Lewis' nonviolence was not passive acceptance. For him, active resistance was a means of harnessing the power of love to transform adversaries and uplift the oppressed. The March to Freedom on approaching 70 soon. And when I was asked by the Invisible volunteer organizers to speak here today and share my story, I couldn't refuse. You see, I have been fighting this battle for a very long time. I said I wasn't going to cry. But I am grateful to the leaders who showed me the way, my mentors. There were many times I felt I was out here alone. But I am reminded of those whose shoulders I stand on. This journey for me began in the late 60s when redlining was outlawed in real estate. And my father, a Korean War vet, purchased his first home in Chattanooga in Foxwood Heights, which is District 9 in the city, a community nestled in the foothills of Missionary Ridge, the site of memorial statues and plaques honoring Confederate soldiers. That was a bold move and took courage on his part. White flight ensued as we settled in, and it was known that parts of the Eastdale community was occupied by members of the KKK. I grew up during the days of integration and was on the front line of integration and was the first generation to integrate Glenwood Elementary. Thanks to the powerful efforts of Black leaders like then NAACP President James Mapp, we fought to desegregate this elementary school. And how ironic it is today, we are in the midst of greatness. This church, over 150 years old and appropriately named the first Christian church, and sits on the corners of Campus Drive across from the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga, and on the right side of this building, the street is named after James Mapp. So you see, I also stand on the shoulders of my dad, my mentor, and Mr. James Mapp, a Black leader of conviction. Oddly, the Glenwood School was closed once it became predominantly Black. It was located in the area that is now the parking lot for Memorial Hospital in the Glenwood neighborhood, which borders the Avondale neighborhood. Education was very important to my parents, and they wanted their children in the best public schools that were receiving the best resources in Hamilton County. Even then, my father recognized the educational deficit among the schools depending on which district you were located in. Being young, I did not understand this, and racism was not taught in our household. Only now, as an adult, reflecting back, did I come to understand what racism really is. And I always thought, until recently, that I was not into politics. But today, I know better. We are all, our lives are politics. Instead of going to Delwood, I went to Orchard Knob Middle School. I wanted to live the Black experience. And did I? The middle school I attended was located in the predominantly Black community of what is now known as Churchville. We did not have nearly the proper resources as did other predominantly white middle schools, and by this time, Glenwood was once predominantly white, was now predominantly Black, and was closing its doors. Orchard Knob received the hand-me-down books from other schools, while the newly built suburban schools received the newer additions. By the time I reached high school, mandatory busing was implemented and the private church schools were increasing. I knew I would be going to Brainerd High as it was the neighborhood high school. My siblings were already attending Eastdale Elementary and Woodmore Elementary and Delwood Middle. This was now the late 60s and early 70s. Mandatory busing and white flight ensued. At Brainerd, then known as the home of the rebels, we were watching outstanding Black athletes like running backs Jeff Sears, Michael Moore, and our first African-American quarterback, Mike McKeldin, bring new energy to the Brainerd High School football program. And I was one of the first black females on the cheerleading squad. But changes had to be made. A small group of black students protested the band who played Dixie during the football games and wore Confederate soldier uniforms. The BHS mascot and image was a total insult to us blacks, and the black athletes and black students and a few whites took to the streets, if you will. We were that first generation that organized to protest. The administration took its time, but it did get the Dixie song stopped, and the band took off those Confederate soldier uniforms. However, the name change was slow in coming, and by the mid-'80s, with a student body that was now predominantly black, Brainerd High was now the home of the Panthers. Now, I know what you're thinking. We went from one extreme to another. But know this. The Black Panthers were the organizers of free breakfast programs for children in underserved communities. They stood in solidarity to protect their gun rights. And now the question today remains, in 2025, are we seeing equal distribution of resources across the board for all the schools in the Hamilton County public school system? What about resources for underserved communities? Where is the common sense legislation for gun laws? Common sense laws for affordable housing and preventative measures to protect the consumer against corporate greed. After graduating from Brainerd High School, I left for Knoxville in 1974 to study for my radio operator's license. After becoming certified 6 months later, I traveled to Atlanta with my father to the Federal Communications Commission's office and passed the exam for my first-class radio operator's license. My dad was always there for me. In 1975, I went to work for WGOW Radio, becoming the first African-American female at that station, which was then owned by Ted Turner of Atlanta at the time. 2 years later, I lost my mom to a heart attack. But through the pain of mourning and broken relationships, I managed to persevere with my studies. I entered Chattanooga State Community College and completed my associate's degree in journalism while working. Eventually, I left WGOW and went to work for WDXB in the newsroom. After completing all requirements for my associate's degree, I was able to transfer all courses to UT Knoxville, thanks to the retired Dean of Students at Chattanooga Community College, Dr. Floyd Eves, an African American who today is 91 years old. His persistent efforts ensured all courses at Chattanooga State Community College transferred over to the UT system. Chattanooga State Community College falls under the Board of Regents. Never wavering, always persevering. I continued to work part-time while taking on a full load at UT, sometimes in radio and other times for the blood bank in Knoxville as a blood donor recruiter. Never wavering, always persevering. I carry the weight of my race on my back, the hope of doing it my way, and the satisfaction of knowing I just might succeed. I recall an old UT communications law professor who began his lectures with the words, "Some of you will make it," as he looked around the room. And he looked me straight in the eyes and said, "Some of you won't." I was the only African American and of one of few females in that classroom. So I sat on the front row of that class in all my classes. Thanks to Rosa Parks, I don't sit in the back. Like my father, the Army vet, I had inherited his spirit and the spirit of his father. I was fearless in this sea of whiteness. So today, to my millennials, Gen X, Y, and Z, nope, I am not going back. I have invested too much time, and my ancestors gave too much blood for me to have the rights I gained over the years. On this day in that classroom, that communications law class, I stood fearless as I packed up my books, went to the admissions and records office, and asked them politely and calmly to find me a new professor. And they did. He was young and good looking. I mean, eye candy. And I made a B in that class. I didn't mind looking at him all day. I did graduate with a BS degree in communications 2 years later and had a job waiting for me at WRCB, no, I take that back, WTVC, Channel 9, before Sinclair took ownership of them today. I was the first African-American female in the newsroom, and eventually I discovered I was the lowest paid in the newsroom. And I was getting the lowest performance percentage rate. So that was the beginning of my developing negotiation skills. I went over to WRCB TV, Channel 3, and the news director offered me a job in the newsroom with a little bit more pay. Again, at this stage of my career, there were no females in the newsroom that looked like me. There were, of course, 2 more white females, and of course, one of them was the lead anchor at 6 and 11 o'clock news. Now, this was before the 24-hour news stations, before CNN, before MSNBC, and C-SPAN. So when our lead female anchor decided to leave and go back to her hometown of Kentucky, that left a slot open for one of the remaining 2 females in the newsroom. And of course, the station manager, and I'm going to put him on blast, he's not here anymore anyway, Bill Evans came to me and said, don't even consider that anchor slot at 6 and 11 because Chattanooga is not ready for a black female in prime time. This was 1985. You hear what I'm saying? That was just around the corner. And I'm still fighting this battle at age 70. I eventually left the station and the industry for a job in retail marketing in the oil and gas industry. At the time, Conoco, now ConocoPhillips, had its retail marketing division in Chattanooga on Main Street before Main Street became what it is today. So yeah, we were stepping over the, yeah. Anyway, to get into our offices. Franz Erhardt, who was then president of the retail division for marketing in Chattanooga, a German, and was also working to become an American citizen, took a chance on me and hired me in. This was in 1985. 4 years later, Conoco was restructuring its business model from decentralized to centralized, and that meant every management level was being pulled into the headquarters location. So in 1989, I moved to Houston. It was a business practice that was becoming known as synergizing. I don't regret any of my experiences or choices. They made me into the person I am today. From Chattanooga to Houston to Denver, back to Houston to Nashville, and I worked through my challenges physically and mentally within and outside of my control. I recall the oil energy crisis of Exxon. Remember the Valdez nightmare? And at this time, DuPont owned Conoco, and in 1999 divested itself of the energy unit, Conoco, and I moved over to the DuPont side, where this operation manufactured man-made fabrics in Old Hickory, Tennessee. Again, I found myself in management in the marketing division, surrounded by people who did not look like me, nor did they think like me. By now, more and more white females who couldn't possibly know or understand my experiences were coming into the organization. And the first female CEO was named. I couldn't remember her name today because it was becoming painfully clear at that time that DuPont, the once giant chemical company and a leading Fortune 500 manufacturing company, was losing earnings, wasn't keeping pace with the latest innovative ideas, and it was becoming a dinosaur in the industry. And to its credit, though, Conoco was over 200 years old. I'm sorry, DuPont was. DuPont was one of the several large manufacturing U.S. companies facing the decline. This once dynasty of manufacturing during the industrial era was now painfully shifting into the fast-paced information technology era. Enter the new millennial. U.S. companies moved overseas in pursuit of cheap, unskilled labor. Unions were being busted up. The American auto industry had gone through its crisis and still trying to make a comeback today. The economic shift was upon us, and the hardest hit was the middle class. I was doing very well salary-wise, but the restructuring business model was now here. MBAs went into that lean and mean operation status, and it didn't take a rocket scientist to figure out what the change was. The shift was here. In 2004, DuPont offered me a governmental relations job in Parkersburg, West Virginia. Now imagine me, a black female in rural Parkersburg, West Virginia. This was the location of one of their chemical plants, and I was aware of the various lawsuits against DuPont that was dumping chemicals in the river, killing farmers' livestock and farmland, and DuPont was essentially offering me a lobbyist's job. I said, no thank you. I lived through the crisis of two major environmental devastations in our world history by two major industries, oil and gas, which was Exxon, and now DuPont, the once giant leader of the manufacturing industry. So I chose early retirement. Now divorced, single for 20 years at this point, and on my own, it was scary. But nonetheless, I stood on faith. I'm proud to say Conoco had a very effective environmental philanthropic philosophy and programs. Conoco was the first oil company to invest in double-hull oil tankers in an effort to prevent disastrous oil spills. We played a major role in the Adopt a School program in Chattanooga city schools, and I was able to bring that concept to Houston, whereby Conoco collaborated with public schools in the 5th Ward. And if you know anything about Houston, they're divided up in wards, and the 5th Ward was the most underserved Hispanic and African American communities. Now DuPont partnered with public schools here in all of the districts, and you all are probably familiar with DuPont Elementary. Additionally, I was a lead facilitator of diversity training in the 80s, whereby Conoco's upper management genuinely wanted to change the culture there, the workplace culture, from one where people worked in silos to one where differences of opinion were respected. It was about inclusion, not just in race, but thoughts and ideas. It was creating workplace principles that focused primarily on the authentic understanding of ideas that may appear to be out of the box. Out of the box concepts were accepted and steps were put in place to measure the success of a plan of action. Employees were empowered, and for a while it worked. So what does a plan of action look like today? The real question today is our local government, and we have to question ourselves, where are our leaders and who are setting the examples among our leaders? And do you know who you are? Fast forward from yesteryear to today, I am 16 years into my early retirement, and I returned home to my beloved city of Chattanooga only to find that the people living here are living in fear, lack, and separation. I've said it many times before, and no one told me it would be like this. As a senior, I am facing age discrimination in healthcare and the housing industries. To my generation, to the baby boomers, and to the millennials, it is time to stand up and let our voices be heard. It is time to set the example for Gen X, Y, and Z. It is time, and more importantly, it is time to establish a standard of conduct for Gen X, Y, and Z. And when I feel those feelings of anxiety, fear, and hopelessness, I reflect on the leaders like John Lewis and others who gave their blood so that I may have the rights I was born to have on this earth. I reject the notion of fear, lack, and separation because I know who I am. I am a child of God, created in the image of the Father and the divine feminine. Unfortunately, only a few billionaires are taking the reins, and the 99% of us are being left behind. Have they forgotten? We made them, and now they want to take away from us. But the one thing they did not count on is our courage to rise up, stand strong, and resist. So let's march and make our demands heard. I march, we all march, or we run, or we walk, and if we can't, we crawl. And at my age, we use canes and wheelchairs. But more importantly, we keep moving. Today I stand before you and I am very tired. Tired of the, forgive me, Lord, I'm not going to use that word. But given today's technology, high tech, and today's politics, I don't know what world I live in anymore. I just know and have faith that a change is coming. But I encourage each of you to find your community and work together. Words matter. So I found a covenant, and I made a covenant with life a long time ago. But this covenant comes from the words belonging to Paulette Jones. I wish I could have written it. So I want you to do something for me, which might be a little unorthodox for some and others might recognize. I want to read her words because they spoke to me, and I hope they resonate with you as well. I want you to close your eyes, settle in, relax, and go into that deep silence and meditate on the following words. I am healthy, successful, wealthy, intelligent, beautiful, witty, capable, powerful, loving, and happy. I stand in the truth of who I am and joyfully embrace the boundless possibilities of who I am becoming. And who I am becoming is who I came here to be. And we all know this as purpose. I bring the best of who I am to whatever I do. I live with honor and integrity. I approach each day with a smile, an open heart, an attitude of gratitude, and a continuous sense of wonder and awe. I love, honor, and protect my children and those entrusted in my care. And I teach them through my living example of love, peace, happiness, and about the goodness and endless beauty of love. Come back to me now. Open your eyes. Thank you, and namaste.
Thank you so much. Thank Audrey Ramsey for her powerful words. Be uplifted. Let her words resonate with you. All right, so here is Elizabeth Haley to guide us and close us out tonight with Seed Theater.
Thank you, Victoria. Okay, you guys have hung out. I am so proud of you. It was a lot of history lesson. There's been a lot of emotion. We're gonna chill out, okay? We're just gonna talk about the queer community a little bit, and then I'm gonna give you some really concrete things to do, because that's what we're all looking for right now, right? We go, we protest, we're angry, we watch the news, we wanna do something, so we're gonna have some things to do. My name is Elizabeth Haley. I'm the executive director for the Seed Theater. The Seed Theater is the foremost organization in Chattanooga serving the LGBTQ community. We've been here and working hard for about 5 years. When you hear about what's going on in the queer community, we're always right in the middle of it and right at the front of it. So I'm here to tell you a little bit about what's happening in the community, briefly, a little overview, and then we're gonna talk about how you can make a difference and you can make a change right now. So, I am just a financial advisor. I went to school for marketing and business, and then my kids came out. My 18-year-old came out when they were 12 as transgender, and my world was flipped. Absolutely rocked. I didn't have a clue what was happening. I wasn't prepared for it. I wasn't even raised liberal. Like, I was raised extremely conservative. My parents were Reformed Presbyterians. It was very important to them that we were very conservative. And then I grew up and I raised kids, and I said, holy crap, that doesn't work for my kids. And so we took a step back. My wife and I took a step back, and we said, how are we going to learn, and how do we support our children to make sure that they grow to be the best versions of themselves? And we let them lead for a little while, and we learned a lot about who they are and who they want to be and who they can be. And the beautiful thing, y'all, is that the youth is going to come in here and shake everything up. My 18-year-old is ready to burn this place down. So you guys think you're excited to make a difference? The kids are too. They're just waiting to be able to be allowed into the polls and make their difference. They're ready. So a little bit of information about the transgender community. The queer community as a whole includes lesbians, gays, bisexuals, asexuals. There's a large, big list of people that all kind of fall into the queer community. I don't like saying alphabet letters. LGBTQ is a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. And so I just refer to our community as queer, which is a word that used to be offensive. And if that makes you uncomfortable, just get used to it. Queer is something that we've reclaimed. It's an umbrella term that we just refer to everybody with because it simplifies the LGBTQIA+, 2SP, etc. I do this for 5 years and I still don't know all the letters. So, transgender youth are the people that we serve most forwardly at Seed Theater. The reason that we exist in this community is to serve queer youth. We have lots of organizations across the country who serve queer adults. There's lots of discussion around the country that you've heard politically, that you've heard on TV, on the news and everything, about how we should just let the kids make it to 18. And once they're adults, then they can decide for themselves who they want to be, who they want to love, and everything like that. And that makes a lot of sense to a lot of us, right? And I understand that angle, but the problem is our youth are dying before they get there. And I'm sorry to bring down the house like that, but that's what's happening. So some statistics from the Trevor Project, which does an annual review every year of what kind of is going on with the state of the country. These are actually specific to Tennessee. So half of our transgender youth considered suicide in this past year. 13% of them attempted to take their lives. 73% of these kids are reporting daily anxiety. 59% are reporting depression. 70% of them are ready to move away from Tennessee. 75% of them say they don't live in a supportive community. 21% of them were physically harmed based on their queerness. And 64% reported being discriminated against based on their queerness. When we say we want our kids to survive, to grow up into queer adults who can then make decisions for themselves, who can then make decisions for their families, what their marriage is going to look like, what their children are going to look like, what their household looks like. We just want them to get that far. And the focus that the administration has had for a very long time, and just the general message that you've been getting told for a very long time, is that you don't need to do anything. We're going to wait till they're 18, and once they're 18, then they can make decisions. But we're not getting that far. We're losing kids in droves before we get to the point where we can make our own decisions. And so it's very crucial and it's very important not just to be supporting and protecting trans people and trans adults, but specifically be supporting our youth, as all they're trying to do is grow up. That's all they want to do. They just want to be grown-ups like the rest of us, so that they can speak for themselves and they can make decisions about what they're having for dinner and what kind of car they want to drive. But we need our kids to get that far. And that's what's so important about supporting queer youth, and that is exactly why certain administration parties have decided to really come after our kids, is because if the kids don't make it to 18, they never make it to vote. It's very important to note, if you're not familiar with these statistics, that LGBTQ young people are not inherently prone to higher levels of suicide and suicide risk because of their sexual orientation or their gender identity. The reason these kids are facing the stuff that they're facing is because of the way that they are stigmatized in society. We have data supporting it. We have it backed up by very, like the Academy of Pediatrics. There's lots of different very formal scientific methods and stuff that they've gone through. And again and again and again, we are able to see that the issue is not that the kids are trans. The issue is how society treats them. And in the state of Tennessee, we were the first ones to implement some of the policies and procedures that are happening now through Project 2025. And Tennessee has lost those rights a long time before this administration got started. So we've been living at the front of this, and it's been very difficult, and there are some really, really important ways for you to help. But I have to have water, because I'm dying already. Thank you so much. Seed Theater seems weird for you to be like, oh yeah, let's just have the theater talk about the queer kids. Doesn't seem to connect, right? Because you'd think we're a performing arts studio. We thought we were a performing arts studio too. Surprise, the community had other plans. So the Seed Theater started as a community theater, and we grew into an LGBTQ safe space and community hub for Chattanooga and surrounding areas. Now we are leaders in advocacy, mutual aid, solidarity, diversity, inclusion, education. We strive to be at the forefront of the Southeast to create safety and systemic change, protecting queer and trans people, especially our youth, while promoting equal rights for everybody. Seed Theater is dedicated to nurturing a diverse and inclusive, supportive, safe community by offering resources, promoting social change, and using the arts as a way to empower and bring out social justice. In 2025, our focus is on direct services, fostering community safety, and amplifying diverse voices through creative expression. Creative expression is old hat for us. I grew up as a theater kid. My wife grew up as a theater kid. There's lots of us that were theater kids because we found safety in our chosen families in theater long before we found the rest of the queer community. And so we stick to our roots. We have drag, we do drama, we scream and yell inside of the theater and hope really, really, really that everybody hears us. We do things that are risky, like Angels in America. We're doing The Crucible this September. We believe strongly in using art as a tool to show dissent for what's happening around us. What else do we do? A lot. So the thing about the queer community is you would think we could just focus on one or two things, but queer people, just like every other person, every other organization that has stood up and spoken to you today, it's an intersectional thing. All of us have to take care of all of us. Queer people, just like the Hispanic population, just like the Black population, we have things that are unique to us that make us different, but most of the things that we need are the same needs as everybody else. LGBTQ people are twice as likely to experience food insecurity as their counterparts who are not queer. There's so many reasons for that, and we'll get into what to do about it, but it's the same problems that everybody faces. So Seed Theater offers support groups. We have support groups for recovery. We have support groups for kids. We have support groups for grown-ups. We have support groups for people who are queer and disabled. We have gender-affirming garment programs to help kids get the access to the things that they need that they can't get anymore. We have a hygiene pantry. We sponsor the Hope Community Fridge, which we'll talk about in detail in just a second, I promise. We offer safe markets and pop-ups. We're in collaboration with the Mayor's Office, promoting safety for all. We're part of a United by Change collaboration. That's our civil efforts, which is similar to what you see today. And then, of course, the performing arts stuff. The most important thing that we do is we come and we talk to you about the way that you can make a difference right now. A lot of us think to ourselves, I'm not Jeff Bezos. I don't have however many bazillions of dollars that he has. I'm just a lowly mom with my 3 kids and my house in Ringgold. I make like $60 a year on a good year, right? And I think I can't do anything because I'm not the top 1%. But the fact of the matter is that the people who take care of each other are literally going to be the ones who survive. So if you have not figured out how to take care of the people around you yet, it's time to learn, because that's the only way we're gonna get through this. And I know that's scary and it's not fun to say out loud, but it's really important that we learn mutual aid and solidarity, where we stand next to people and we offer the things that we have that are extra that maybe we don't need, because there will be times that you need it too. But more than that, you offer the things that you don't need because that's the right thing to do. Because that's the human thing to do, right? It doesn't need to be complicated. There's a lot of really great information and poems and speeches and stuff about why we need to take care of each other. But at the baseline, I submit to you that it's just the right thing to do, and that is the only reason we need. It's because we need to take care of each other. Thank you. So I have some very concrete, very simple ways to help. I am all about action items. So there are very straightforward ways to help. If you are a person, you can help. That's it. That's it. That's the whole criteria. So there's a couple of different ways to help based on who you are and how your family operates and how you're impacted by things that are going on around us right now, okay? The first one and the easiest one to say out loud that every organization will always tell you is money. I do not emphasize, I cannot over-exaggerate how few grants there are supporting trans kids in the state of Tennessee. This isn't a thing that exists. Organizations that take care of their own cities in places like Seattle and New York have abundant amounts of funds and resources because people live there and people want to support their communities. Those people aren't here and they don't support these communities. It's up to us to support this community. So if you have funds, if you have money, this is where you need to put it. If you don't have money and you're broke like me, because we are, but you have time. You have time today. You're sitting in this beautiful building in this relatively air-conditioned space, and I'm sorry, it's warm. And you're here and you're listening and you're committing your time right now. If you have an hour or two a week, you can make a very real difference in multiple people's lives every single week. You don't need to quit your job and work full-time for an organization. You don't need to connect and go through a bunch of training. You just need to give your time. So pick an organization. I have a favorite. You can pick whichever one makes you happy. Pick an organization that is serving the communities that hurt right now and give them your time. I have 45 minutes a day that I am on my lunch. Are there phone calls I can make for you? Is there a spreadsheet I can organize for you? There are so many administrative tasks, basic simple things, research. Sometimes we just need people to look stuff up on Google to figure out what's out there so we can put it together so that the people who need the information can make better decisions with it. You don't have to be educated at this. You don't have to know what you're doing. We're all making it up too. We are. We're figuring it out as we go. So you don't have to know what you're doing to be an activist. You just have to show up to an organization and ask them how to help. Give them your time. Mutual aid is one of my favorite ones to talk about, and that is both time and money. Mutual aid is this concept that we take care of each other. That if I have an extra piece of bread, I can give it to Lily, and Lily's not hungry. And then the next time, Lily might have an extra apple, and she might give it to me when I'm really hungry. That's very simple. It's very straightforward. And mutual aid is how we survive this. Mutual aid is community, and mutual aid is resistance. The last thing we ask of you, if you don't have money or time, or if you're like me and some of my friends and your body limits you, right? Sorry. You can also use your voice to speak up for people and to spread the work that we're doing. Seed Theater has about 3,500 followers on Facebook. But because of the significant work of our community, we typically reach 35,000 people when we post something because people share it. Getting that message a little bit further takes a click. You're already on Facebook. Let's be honest. You were doom scrolling. Let's do something positive with that time. Let's put it back. Let's share something. Share actionable, tangible ways to make a difference. Share something that made you happy. I shared a video yesterday of a Hamilton County deputy who rescued a young man whose car was going into a lake. And then he was administered Narcan, and it saved his life. And there were lots of people talking on there about whether or not that gentleman deserved to be saved. And I just can't express enough how much none of that matters, right? But with that video, I was able to share about our Narcan packing opportunity at the end of this month, right? Take something that you see and think about how you can impact the world around you for better. What can I do with this thing right here to make a difference? Grassroots funding and organizations like ours struggle really hard. We come up with every single penny that we pay our staff with, that we pay all of our organizational expenses with, any traveling, and all of the mutual aid work that we do. All of that money comes from our community. We don't have big grants. We don't have federal money rolling in to help the queer kids. That's not how it is. We literally make a difference by supporting each other. So when you have an opportunity to, you can sign up to make a monthly donation commitment. You can buy tickets to our shows at the Barking Legs Theater. Seed Theater has a full season. Like I said, we're about to bring the Crucible. I'm very excited about it. You can purchase our merch. We've got enamel pins and flags and pins and all kinds of things. You can share our information on social media when we're doing fundraisers, when we're sharing about an event. You can send somebody who needs us to us, and you can tell your friends about us. None of that costs you anything. It doesn't cost you a significant amount of time. It doesn't necessarily cost you any money either, right? These are things we can do. So when we're frustrated and we're saying, I went to this protest and I'm so empowered and I want to make a difference. What do I do now? This is what we do now. It's really important that we take these opportunities to roll that passion, to roll that power, that frustration, the anger we feel, right? I don't know about y'all, but I get real mad on Facebook. I can do it for about 5 minutes and then I put it down because I don't need to kill anybody today, right? It's not the day for it. If I go to jail, I can stop impacting people in a positive manner. If I go to jail because I killed some lady because she said something ignorant, that's not going to help anybody, right? So we try to stay focused on the things that we can do. The things that we can do right now, Seed Theater is starting a major initiative with Hope Community Fridge, which is an opportunity for you to take the excess from your kitchen and your pantry and feed your neighbors. If you go in your pantry or under your bathroom sink, because we have hygiene cabinets as well, you will find things that you bought that you didn't realize had some weird flavor. You'll find things that didn't have the right kind of ingredients for your dietary needs. I don't know about y'all, but I do a lot of Instacart deliveries because that's my gift to myself to not have to grocery shop. And they substitute some stupid stuff. I want to make like pasta and they send me, I'm making spaghetti, they send me lasagna noodles because they don't have right, you know what I mean? Like the weirdest things. Those are opportunities for us to take that food that we don't need, that we didn't want, and to feed a neighbor with it. So, if you have food, if you have money, if you have time, if you have any of these things, you can make a difference in our community right now. We're installing 6 more community fridge locations that have no barriers for access across the city by the end of the summer. These fridges will allow people to go and get the things that they need regardless of what the government is doing, regardless of who's paying for SNAP, who's paying for what. It doesn't matter what they cut. It doesn't matter what they decide is important or not important because we can feed our own community right here. We have gardens. We have excess in our own homes, and we can feed each other. And that is the thing that we need to do. So if this is something that you feel like you can get in on and you can help, you don't have to donate food. You can donate your time. Every one of our 7 locations will need to be checked on a daily basis so that we can continue to get donations from the food bank. There are very specific guidelines we have to do. And literally, all you have to do is go to a refrigerator, scan a QR code, say yes, it's still on, throw out something that may or may not be, food worthy, right? Maybe somebody donated a nectarine that was on its last day, right? So go ahead and move that to the compost bin and make a difference. You can sign up today at our table out there. You can flag me down. My volunteer coordinator is here. Her name is Lita. She's wearing a staff t-shirt that is wonderful. We also have Eli here, and Kren is our programs director. She's here as well, wandering around on security. If you see somebody who works for Seed, if you don't know, just ask one of these ladies who's around. They all know who I am because I've got a big mouth. So find us, connect with us, tell us what you can do. Stop thinking about what you can't do to make a difference and focus on what you can do. What can you do today? Can you go home and make 10 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches? Can you go home and make a thing of pasta? Because that could very well be the thing that a family eats that they haven't had all day. And when you haven't lived with food insecurity, you don't understand how much that means and how much of a difference it makes. And I grew up on days that my parents were not sure if we were gonna have dinner or not. There were days that we went to the pantry. We asked my mom what was for dinner, and she goes, I don't know, just see what you can find. I had a lot of Cheerios because we were WIC kids. My mom had 4 kids, and we had WIC, so there was always Cheerios, and there was always milk. There was always rice, there was always beans. Do you know what's really exciting to get at a food pantry? Cheetos. A cake. bread, almond milk. The things that you may not want in your pantry, you can give to other people, and it will be a life-changing moment for them because they will eat when they were hungry. And that is something that is so simple and so basic, and it's something that every person in this room can do every day. So that's my call to action. Do something you can do right now. We can't change politics yet. We're working on it. It's a big ask. There's a lot of work to be done, and we've got to keep doing that work. But we also have to survive in the meantime, and you have to take care of our own community members. And that is my ask for you guys today, is to feed your own community.
Be inspired. Be inspired. Know what you could do today. Feed someone who's hungry. There's power in people, and in that power is change. Know what you can do. It is okay not to pick every organization tonight. I'm not asking you to do that. I'm asking you to pick one, maybe two, or donate what you can. As part of our program, we did a give back to the Chattanooga Foundation, also the Regional Outreach Coalition. It's in your program. Decide, just pick one. It's okay. And we thank you for duking it out with us tonight. I know it was hot, and I am grateful to all of you for coming out. Give yourselves a round of applause for coming out and staying through.
My philosophy is very simple. When you see something that is not right, not fair, not just, say something, do something, get in trouble, good trouble, necessary trouble.
He was always different than every member of Congress. Everybody knew what he had done. He was John Lewis.
We're marching today to dramatize to the world that hundreds and thousands of Negro citizens denied the right to vote.
Congressman Lewis gave us the blueprint to organize and to legislate.
The reason why he's effective as a leader is because he's lived it.
We made a decision to march in an orderly, peaceful, nonviolent fashion from Selma to Montgomery.
You are ordered to disperse. This march will not continue.
I was hit in the head. My knees went from under me. I thought I was going to down the bridge.
If John Lewis, as a 19, 20-year-old, wasn't doing what he did, I would not be here.
We will march with the spirit of love and with the spirit of dignity that we have shown here today.
The whole time he was in the movement, it was frightening, knowing the danger, knowing what could happen.
You cannot replace a John Lewis.
He's the most courageous person I ever met.
Too many people struggled and died to make it possible for every American to exercise their right to vote.
He challenges the conscience of the Congress.
Bring common sense gun control legislation to the House floor.
40 years later, John Lewis continues to inspire us.
Are you with me? Let me hear you. 3 civil rights workers that were murdered for trying to help people get registered to vote are looking down on us.
This is a time for action. That's what I learned from John Lewis.
There are forces in America today want to take us back, but we're not going back. We're going forward.